Why this story matters. This is one of those stories that quietly proves progress doesn't always come with loud headlines. Quick summary: this story highlights recent developments related to this day in history, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. 5 years ago, the world's oldest known cave painting of an animal, a pig 45,000 years old, is discovered in Leang Tedongnge cave on the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia. As GNN reported at the time, the painting is of a Sulawesi warty pig, a species hunted and depicted often in Sulawesi cave art from the Last Glacial Period. 2020 maximum orbit measuring 50 inches by 27 inches wide, 36 cm by 54 cm. The pig is accompanied by 2 human handprints just above its hindquarters and a pair of pigs off to the right, which are only partially visible. The discovery definitively knocks out Europe and establishes that the Indo-Pacific is the center of the first known developments in artistic expression and perhaps even storytelling. Additional images from an earlier period depict not only the warty pigs, but warty pig-human hybrids, suggesting that along with artistic expression, the images seem to display the first instance of true imaginary expression. Would you like to read more good news about this day in history? And on this day, the researchers studying the paintings believe it points to the evidence of substantial human settlement on a flooded continent called Wallacea, which now makes up more or less the myriad islands of the Indo-Pacific. More good news on this day. The Church of England embraced the theory of evolution in 1968. The Wamo Company produced the first frisbee, a flying disc that went on to become one of the most popular and enduring toys in history in 1970. After kicking heroin addiction, Eric Clapton made his stage comeback at London's Rainbow Theatre, and it was recorded for an album thanks to Pete Townsend of The Who, who had organised the concert to help Clapton move forward. 1960, and Orlando Bloom, best known for playing Legolas in the Lord of the Rings films and Lorna in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, was born in 1960. Buzz Wilder became the first elected black governor in Virginia in 1964 years ago today. The Times of London published its first ever broadsheet. Originally founded as a daily universal register, the Times used contributions from significant figures in the fields of politics, science, literature, and the arts to build its reputation. For much of its early life, the profits of the Times were very large and the competition minimal, so it could pay far better than its rivals for information or writers. In 1979, the historian of journalism Alan Nevins analysed the importance of the Times in shaping the views of events of London's elite writing. For much more than a century, the Times has been an integral and important part of the political structure of Great Britain. Its news and its editorial comment have in general been carefully coordinated and have at most times been handled with an earnest sense of responsibility. While the paper has admitted some trivia to its columns, its whole emphasis has been on important public affairs treated with an eye to the best interests of Britain. The Times of London, which will absorb the Sunday Times to become simply the Times, was the first newspaper to bear this particular moniker, which has subsequently been borrowed by major news outlets in dozens of countries, from Israel to Taiwan. In the James Bond film From Russia with Love, it was revealed that the Times was the only newspaper Bond ever read, not a half-bad endorsement despite its fictionality. 107 years ago today, a group of 33 academics, businessmen, and others met at the Cosmos Club in the nation's capital with the aim of creating an organization to increase and diffuse geographic knowledge. Thus, the National Geographic Society was born, and over the next 1 century, it would become one of the world's largest scientific, cultural, and educational institutions. For decades, the Society has sponsored intrepid scientific and exploratory missions across the globe, including one man's walk to document an on-foot circumnavigation of the planet, the first video footage shot from the summit of Everest, and the 1948 Arnhem Land Expedition. 9 months after it was founded, it would go on to publish the first edition of the Society's new journal, National Geographic magazine, in 1888, and it was then settled on their trademark yellow boundary. There are 12 monthly issues of National Geographic per year. It's currently published in 40 local language editions in many countries around the world, totaling 6.8 million monthly and some 60 million readers. With a notable penchant for photography, National Geographic magazine was always on the cutting edge of the science, deploying flash, underwater color, and high-speed photographies, often before anyone else in media. In 1999, gathering in front of the National Geographic building, it was already seen as an established and prestigious organization early in its life. The picture above includes the discoverers of the North Pole 4, South Pole 3, Machu Picchu 16, as well as Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone 7, and many members of various international delegations in Washington. Its commitment of research and exploration has awarded more than 11 grants for scientific research and exploration to date, including partnering with Yale to finance the discovery, research, and publication of the findings of Machu Picchu from 1937 to 1939. The Society maintains a museum in Washington, D.C., which hosts exhibits from some of the most important archaeological finds, such as the Tomb of King Tut and the Staffager Hoard. Watch the video chronology of the early years of the Society, the iconic individuals who enjoyed its support and its penchant for stunning images. 1867 and happy 60th birthday to Patrick Dempsey, the actor who became popular for his role as Dr. McDreamy on Grey's Anatomy. He raises millions for cancer patients with his annual 50-mile bike.